Hello and welcome everybody. It's noon here in the Iranian capital, Tehran. You're watching Press TV's World News. Our top story for this half hour, the Secretary General of Lebanon's Hezbollah movement says resistance is the only way to liberate Palestine from Israeli occupation, addressing a memorial ceremony for a senior Hezbollah commander killed in Syria. Said Hassan Nasrallah said the resistance movement will stand by Palestinians and support their fight against Israel by all means. Nasrallah called on all Muslim countries to uphold the Palestinian cause and noted that Israel will have no future. The Hezbollah chief then denounced the ISIL atrocities, saying the terrorist group seeks to destroy all regional countries, as does Israel. Nasrallah pledged to continue the fight against Daesh, even if it turns out to be a long-lasting battle. He noted that the anti-ISIL campaign in fact defends all religions and human values, and that Hezbollah deems it its responsibility to fight the terror group. The Syrian army makes fresh advances against foreign-backed militants as Russian warplanes clear the ground for the Syrian soldiers to move on. Syrian government forces managed to retake the Jafra area adjacent to the main airport in the eastern province of Deir al-Zawr. Syrian officials say the recaptured area is considered the first line of defense for the airport. The army also made gains in the north after liberating 3 villages from militant groups near the city of Aleppo. Elsewhere in the south, the Syrian forces fought a battle with Nusra Front terrorists in the province of Daraa. The Syrians inflicted heavy losses on them close to the strategic Golan Heights. The Syrian army has retaken control of a number of strategic positions in Quneitra countryside, south of the country. It has inflicted heavy losses on terrorists and forced them to retreat. Press TV's correspondent Muhammad Ali reports.
The fight for Quneitra countryside in southern Syria is ongoing. Both the Syrian army and terrorists are battling for more ground. The recent confrontation there has been won by the Syrian army, as the government troops were able to secure 2 highly strategic hills and a wide stretch of land.
The Syrian army was engaged in ferocious clashes with Nusra Front terrorists near Al-Quneitra and took control of the strategic hills of Al-Qab'a and Ahmar and the farms and checkpoints of Al-Amal.
The importance of the secured hills and Al-Amal farms is that they connect many villages through the main highway with Damascus. They are also close to Syrian army posts. Syrian army personnel there told us the terrorists are after taking control of such strategic positions, but all their attacks are being repelled.
We have foiled terrorist dreams and blocked their movement in the direction of Damascus and our positions. All their attacks and infiltrations will be always foiled by us.
Terrorists are still occupying several villages in Quneitra, like Jubbat al-Khashab, al-Hamidiyya and Beit Jin, on the separation line with the Israeli-occupied Syrian lands. They continuously try to advance to take army-held towns all the way to the north to reach Damascus countryside with the help of Israel on their backlines. But all their attacks have failed so far. The battle taking place here in Al-Quneitra countryside aims to weaken and eliminate the presence of foreign-backed militants occupying villages in Al-Quneitra countryside, as fighting militants here is not like fighting others across the country because of the direct logistic support the militants are getting from Israel. Muhammad Ali, Press TV, Al-Quneitra countryside.
Elsewhere, Italy says the UN Cultural Agency has agreed to deploy an international task force to protect heritage sites worldwide from attacks by Daesh terrorists. Italy said the UNESCO has approved its proposal to protect the historical sites in response to the ISIL's destruction of parts of the ancient city of Palmyra in Syria. Italy said the mission is aimed at safeguarding important sites that are located in war zones. It added that UN peacekeepers will cooperate with Italy's cultural and heritage police in their mission. The ISI Al-Takfiri terrorists have destroyed several ancient sites in Iraq and Syria over the past months. In their latest hostile measure, they blew up the 2,000-year-old Arc of Triumph in Syria's Palmyra, which UNESCO lists as one of the most important cultural centers of the ancient world. Tensions are still running high in the occupied Palestinian territories. Israeli forces have attacked Palestinians at a checkpoint near the city of Ramallah. Several people were injured after Israelis attacked a group of Palestinian protesters at the Ghalandia checkpoint. 5 members of a family were also rushed to hospital following an assault by Israeli settlers on their house in Hebron, also known as Al-Khalil. On Saturday, Israeli forces killed 2 Palestinians in the West Bank over alleged stabbing attacks. Clashes also broke out between Israelis and protesters near the Beit El settlement on the outskirts of Ramallah. Palestinians are angry over mounting Israeli crackdown. At least 44 Palestinians have been killed across the occupied territories since the beginning of October. Protesters in several countries have taken to the streets to voice their support for the people of Palestine who are experiencing mounting Israeli crackdown these days. French demonstrators brought large Palestinian flags to the streets of the capital, Paris. They chanted slogans against the Israelis' intentional escalation of violence throughout the Palestinian territories. French protesters also called on their government to stop supporting Israel and its aggressive agenda in the region. On Saturday, activists in the UK and Tunisia staged similar rallies and expressed their support for the Palestinians' unwavering resistance against the Israeli occupiers.
Israeli forces in the occupied territories continue to attack Palestinians with brutal force. Eyewitness reports say Israeli soldiers are firing live rounds at unarmed Palestinians, executing them in the streets, and now thousands have gathered outside the Israeli embassy in London to say enough is enough.
The protesters here are angry. They're calling for an end to the brutal military occupation the Palestinians are under and are desperate for the Israeli regime to be held accountable for their actions.
I think that, if there's ever going to be any kind of resolution that's going to come out of this, it has to come from international pressure on the state of Israel.
We are here to send a message to the whole world that what's happening in Palestine, especially in Al-Quds, is not acceptable. We are here to show our solidarity to our brothers and sisters in Palestine, that they are not alone.
The protest, supported by several British organisations, has aimed to show solidarity with those suffering in the occupied territories. Palestinian flags were the only ones present to show unity with those struggling under the brutal occupation. The protesters condemn the international community's silence and support for the Israeli regime and its continued violation of Palestinian rights. The demonstrators called on the mainstream media to show a more balanced version of events in the region.
It's very biased towards the Israelis, very biased. We're in the British government, the BBC don't reflect what's going on really, do they?
It's not fair at all what we heard in the media till now, especially the British media. They put the blame on the Palestinians, they put the blame on the victims more than they putting the blames on the people who are killing, the criminals who are killing the women and children in Palestine for no reason.
The organisers say they will continue fighting against this injustice until they see a real fundamental change in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Mohammed Walji, Press TV, London.
Israel's coalition cabinet is scheduled to discuss a controversial bill to withdraw the funding of parties or Knesset members that support the boycott of Israel or its products. The bill labels the embargo campaign as anti-Semitism. It's been put forth in the Knesset by Yisrael Beitenu's chairman Avigdor Lieberman. The bill was proposed after leftist parties Hadash and Meretz expressed support for the boycott of settlement products. The Joint Arab List of the Knesset has also backed the embargo. The calls for boycott come amid international pressure on Tel Aviv to end its illegal settlement activities. The European Union has already approved legislation to label settlement products, a first step toward a de facto boycott. Well, a gathering at Stony Brook University in Manhattan has discussed violent acts of terrorism by Israeli settlers against Palestinians that have escalated in the past few months. The speakers blamed specific policies